I'm trying out a new intro, so don't sue me. And of course, boomered. Forgot that it was on loop. Because always, the starting shortly is almost always on loop, and then I forget to take it off loop for when I go into the 30-second countdown. Because that's just me. I'm just a moron at times. But anyway, people, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Welcome to today's episode of the Law News and Laughter podcast. I am your host, Aussie Overlaw'd, an attorney from Melbourne, Australia. Yes, we do actually exist, who generally cannot keep his mouth shut and enjoys entertaining you with opinions, weird news stories, and occasionally, just occasionally, a little bit of legal know-how. So, things that I will not be talking about today. A man has been stung in the testicles by a scorpion while sleeping at a Las Vegas strip resort. Thai prostitutes got into a brawl in Bangkok, gives sort of new meaning to it. And it turns out the cops may actually have been involved. We're going to skip over that one, though, because YouTube generally doesn't like me talking about that sort of stuff. Rollerblades are now being used to transport cocaine in Wisconsin. And a Toronto street pole is now covered in Lego because one guy has way too much time on his hands. And the last surviving member of the first team ever to conquer Mount Everest says that it is now crowded and very dirty. Well, given that they kind of, for a while there, were leaving the dead bodies on the side of the mountain, I kind of understand how and why it's considered to be dirty and whatever else. So, things that we will actually be talking about today. We have two separate lawsuits involving Musk. One, he's being sued for severance on the whole, acquisition of Twitter from the former CEO and a bunch of other executives. We'll go through that one if we have time, because I've got the lawsuit on it. It's 56 pages. And do we actually really care, given that all Musk did was tweet out a laughing emoji in response? I'm fairly confident that his legal team will have actually looked over that prior to letting them go and saying, no, you're not getting, $100 and something million worth of severance. What we will be looking at is a drunken man brazenly rides a white horse up to a fifth floor apartment in order to make up with his wife, because flowers are so yesterday. A naked man steals a vehicle and then disappears into thin air. And a man's been arrested accused of trying to steal a self-driving taxi in Los Angeles. It did not go well for him. Literally, these things are piloted by somebody behind a computer sitting in Mumbai or wherever else. And all they did was stop the car and tell him to get out. Like, dude, it doesn't even have a steering wheel. What are you doing? We're going to do an update on the Nintendo Emulator lawsuit. And the vampire serial killer who drank the blood of the homeless victims for fun has finally been caught in South America. Conspiracy theorists are now blaming Taylor Swift for social media crashing. And finally, a California man is the first in the US to be charged with smuggling greenhouse gases. So sit back, relax, and let's get stuck into the weird and wacky world of law, news, and laughter. Let's get stuck into it, people. Alrighty, so first things first, housekeeping, people. As you are all aware, $50 brings us Labracadabrador Cam. $5 beyond that gets her a treat. Beyond that, I start pimping out other things. We'll see exactly what happens. There may or may not be some American-style treats that I'll be trying again today. We will see. But let's start with this. Elon Musk sues OpenAI, accusing it of putting profit before humanity. Almost as if it's being run by a corporation that has no responsibility to anyone other than its shareholders. I mean, I get that OpenAI was supposed to be open source and for the betterment of humanity. We all saw where this was going, though, didn't we? I mean, is there anyone that at any point didn't think that, sad about the death of user, etc.? Yeah, look, I mean, the trouble is that Nintendo doesn't seem to have any sort of dog in the fight in terms of preservation of previous games. Like, some things that you really like to play, you just can't now. Like, I still have to go out and at some point buy some very specific, very specialized hardware so that I can start playing GameCube on streams again. So, BBC might sue you for that one. Oh well. Shit happens. Anyway, Elon Musk to sue OpenAI, accusing it of putting profit before humanity. Elon Musk has filed a lawsuit accusing OpenAI and its chief executive, Sam Altman, of betraying its foundational mission by putting the pursuit of profit ahead of the benefit of humanity. See, okay. We're so worried about the WEF and the One World Government and all that sort of stuff. I kind of feel like no one's paying attention to what Musk's doing or saying and that sort of thing. Like, I'm all happy for him to. I'm more than happy for him to make Twitter a free speech platform and all that sort of stuff. I'm more than happy for him to fight the good fight on various things. Not sure how I feel about this one. I'll be perfectly honest. Because Amber Heard has complained to her baby daddy that AI will act better than her. Oh man. Oh no. The world's richest man, a founding board member of the artificial intelligence company behind ChatGPT, claimed that Altman had set aflame OpenAI's founding agreement by signing an investment deal with Microsoft, which they have. I've been trialing out Copilot. It seems pretty good. Half the things in my thumbnails these days are generated by Copilot, and all I've done is give it a half-assed, slightly tweaked prompt as to what exactly I want to appear. I mean, to be fair, the thumbnail today was supposed to have a white horse in it, but, it gets there. The lawsuit filed in San Francisco on Thursday claims that OpenAI is now developing artificial general intelligence, a theoretical form of AI that can perform a range of tasks at or above human level of intelligence for profit rather than for the benefit of mankind. OpenAI Inc. has been transformed into a closed-source de facto subsidiary of the largest technology company in the world, Microsoft. Under its new board, it is not just developing, but is actively actually refining an AGI to maximize profits for Microsoft rather than for the benefit of humanity. The lawsuit alleges. The suit opens with Musk's often stated warning that AGI poses a grave threat to humanity. Where some, like Mr. Musk, see an existential threat in AGI, others see AGI as a source of power and profit, said the lawsuit, adding that in the hands of a for-profit company such as Google, AGI poses a particularly acute and noxious danger to humanity. Musk and other tech experts are concerned that AGI could evade human control and take actions that endanger the planet. We literally have how many series of movies about this? I mean, yeah, we can all pretend that Terminator 3 onwards don't exist. You still kind of have to pay attention to Terminator 1 and 2. He donated to a non-profit open charity, which then decided to morph into a for-profit company. Seems like a legit complaint. Not disagreeing with you on that. The suit claims that Altman purported to share Musk's concerns over AGI and in 2015 proposed forming a non-profit AI lab that would be the opposite of Google, known as OpenAI. Together with Greg Brockman, OpenAI's president, who is also being sued by Musk, the three men agreed to create a lab whose principles would be enshrined in a founding agreement. The lab would be for the benefit of humanity, it would be a not-for-profit company, and would be open source, the term for making technology freely available. They don't exist now. I really hope not. I mean, if ChatGPT ever had access to things like nuclear codes or anything like that, I kind of feel like we might be ruined. Let's try and not go down that path if we can help it, though, shall we? The lawsuit claims that Musk, who stepped away from OpenAI in 2018, was a moving force behind the creation of OpenAI and supplied a majority of its funding in its early years. Microsoft is now the biggest investor in OpenAI's profit-making arm, which Altman runs after the deal was struck in 2020. The lawsuit claims that OpenAI, Altman, and Brockman set the funding agreement aflame in 2023 after releasing ChatGPT-4, the powerful model that underpins OpenAI's ChatGPT chatbot. GPT-4's design was kept a secret, and such behavior showed a radical departure from an OpenAI's original mission, the lawsuit said. So this is just a contract dispute, basically. That's what it boils down to. Yeah. This secrecy is primarily driven by commercial considerations and not safety, says the lawsuit, which is claiming breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, and unfair business practices. Who took down Facebook earlier? AI hackers, conspiracy theorists are running wild. Oh yeah, we're going to get to that because the main theory that I was going to talk about today is people are blaming T-Swizzle. Apparently Tay-Tay took down social media. So... Where did I get to? It added that GPT-4 was an AGI technology effectively owned by Microsoft, an arrangement that is allegedly outside the scope of the company's licensing agreement with OpenAI. The lawsuit also claimed that OpenAI is developing a model known as Q-Star, which is an even stronger claim to be an AGI. The lawsuit goes on to claim that the tumultuous periods of events in November 2023, when Altman was sacked as OpenAI CEO and then reinstated, showed that Microsoft had significant leverage over the company. The new board introduced after Altman's reinstatement does not have the expertise to ascertain whether the company has achieved AGI, and thus whether it has produced a product outside the scope of Microsoft's license, the lawsuit adds. The case is filed to compel OpenAI to adhere to its founding agreement and return to its mission to develop AGI for the benefit of humanity, not to personally benefit the individual defendants and the largest technology company in the world, the lawsuit claims. OpenAI's deal with Microsoft is being scrutinized by competition authorities in the US, UK, and the EU, as if anyone's ever going to do anything about that. Are you kidding me? Like, we've seen plenty of instances in recent years where it's been, excuse me, I'm just going to take my shoe off so that my foot doesn't start hurting, where they haven't bothered to look at these things too closely. I mean, look at what happened between Xbox and Sony, and, you know, nothing's going to come out of that. I don't really care if they're going to scrutinize it. They're not going to do a damn thing. So, Brian Quinn, a professor at Boston College Law School in the US, said that there were multiple issues with the lawsuit. I'll bet he did. He said that Musk did not have the standing to sue for breach of the board's certificate of incorporation because he was not a board member. The suit addresses this by claiming that an email between a 2015 email between Musk and Altman setting out the founding agreement together with the certificate constitutes a contract. Okay. So we have an email. Depends on what the contents of the email is, because for a binding contract, we need offer acceptance, consideration. What was the consideration is going to be tough to put. I mean, he could argue that the consideration in this instance is the however many millions of dollars that he shoved into OpenAI, maybe. I'd be curious. I want to see the contents. I want to see the context of the. Sorry, I want to see the contents of the email and the context in which it is. In which it was drafted. Microsoft tried to kill PC gaming. Games for Windows are designed to screw with PC gaming. Lovely. Lovely. Right. A demand for return of money that Musk invested in OpenAI was also likely to fail because the suit claimed that OpenAI veered from its mission in 2023, long after Musk stopped supporting the nonprofit. So whether or not it's contemporaneous with the... I don't know. I think that's a stronger claim, personally. It's hard to see that he has any standing to attempt to enforce its founding agreement or the certificate, said Quinn. OpenAI. Where are you from? I am Australian. I'm an attorney here in Melbourne, Australia. I have my own practice, and I just randomly give opinions on crap. Where are we? OpenAI, Microsoft, and Google have been approached for comment, but as usual, have probably not said a damn thing. This one's going to be interesting because I know that Musk has some very strong opinions in relation to AI, and that he's adamant that it's going to be what kills us, as is Mighty Meat. I'm very aware of that as well. This sort of... You do see this, though. You see where things start up as charitable enterprises, and then, you know, someone may or may not bow out. I mean, this is more or less the same sort of argument that they had with the establishment of Facebook, with Zuckerberg and the shares and all that sort of stuff. Him suing for... I mean, it's not the same as giving an endowment or something like that, you know? It's not as if the money was given... I mean, the money may have been given for a specific purpose, but again, it very much will... It will very much just depend on what the contents of that email is and whether or not it constitutes a contract. I mean, if it's a single email from one person to another, I think you're going to have trouble establishing offer and acceptance, frankly. But, you know, we'll see exactly where that pans out. Because that one's going to be interesting. So, where are we? Moving on. Burglary suspect confronted by Colorado police while on the toilet. I'm on the shitter, bud. The alleged burglar went from the crapper to the clink. Colorado Police Department released a yuck-worthy footage. What? Released yuck-worthy footage. Why did I add an extra A in there? Anyway. Of officers confronting a suspect while he was on the toilet after authorities received reports of a burglary in progress early on Thursday morning. Officers with Lakewood Police descended on the property at around 4 a.m. after an early morning alarm sounded, and they used a drone to track the suspect down, according to the Facebook post, which we will watch because it's a whole 30 seconds worth of footage, and it's kind of entertaining. The body cam footage shows heavily armed police officers burst into an interior door to reveal the male suspect sitting on the toilet. "I'm on the shitter, bud," the suspect said calmly as he puts his hands up. The man then stands up. Oh, let's just make sure that there's no tallywhackle in there. Nope, we're good. The man then stands up, his hands still up and his pants down as he follows the cops' orders to surrender. The wild video shows. Good thing there is no true hour yet, so we're good for now. Pretty much. While we see a lot of things in the line of duty, we had no clue what awaited us this time, the department wrote in a cheeky post. Oh, that's bad. That's not even... You know what? I kind of have to, but... No, you know what? That's Angry Cat. That's bad. The alleged perp was taken to jail where he was charged with second-degree burglary, the police said. You know the old adage, caught with your pants down? Someone should have told this burglary suspect that... who was arrested by Lakewood police agents earlier this morning, the department said. More information on the case was not immediately available. Andrew, I have no... Andrew, did you just, like, randomly sit on your phone or something? I have no idea. Clapper to the X link, I'm as O. Okay. Probably lactose intolerant or IBS. Nerves from the burglary. Maybe. Now, I'm really hoping that I don't manage to get myself yeeted on this because I haven't previewed the video. Oh, no, it's okay. They blacked it out. That's fine. Did they bust him for open carry of a weapon? I hope not. All right. Hopefully we have audio, because we know how plagued we were yesterday. Did they bust him for your open carry weapon, or did they let him conceal it before they cuffed him?
Some guy yelling at us. I'm gonna back up.
Like,
ready? Michael, please show me your hands. Hands up. Stand up.
I'm not sure what the hell just dropped on the floor. That was not a phone. I'm fairly confident that I know what that was.
Sure. Keep your hands up. Stop there. Stop there. Stop right there. All right.
All this makes me think of is that scene from National Lampoon's. Shitter was full! What a moron. Hope it didn't go off. It's such a small box. Well, they probably didn't need to cover much, so, you know. Anyway, moving on. An image of a desk exposes a problem many Aussies still face at work. Some poor woman actually got fired over a photo. Danielle Wab was working in a law firm when she was told the hot water bottle that she kept at her desk wasn't very professional. She was working as a receptionist in 2019, living with endometriosis and battling chronic pain. Why was she not entitled to have why was she not allowed to have a hot water... What? Dude was just on the throne smoking some crack. Let him be. It hides when startled. Oh, no. The young professional was 20 at the time and said that while she was always focused on her work, she was often living with a stabbing pain that at times she felt every inch of it in her body. It's a stabbing, it's a cramping, and it takes over your whole body. You feel it everywhere. You feel it in your legs, she said. Throughout the workday, she would discreetly try to go for a walk to relieve her pain or duck into the kitchen to take Panadol or Nurofen to help with her symptoms. Her aim was for her co-workers not to notice she was sick and that she'd often wear bulky clothing to disguise the hot water bottle she frequently needed at her desk. I'd ensure I was wearing layers, tuck it in my pants, and put a jumper over it. I'm unsure why this is news. Eventually, she felt comfortable telling her employer that she was living with endometriosis and trusted that they'd understand. It was still a tough call to make because she feared that the endo would be thrown in her face and someone would tell her she was overreacting and it was just a period. That didn't happen, but she still came to regret the disclosure. She said she left work early one day when she was in such horrific pain that she needed to go to the hospital. It took her vomiting at work to make her actually leave and seek medical attention. After all, she wasn't a stranger to the pain. Pharmaceutical treatments currently available to treat endometriosis are palliative, meaning they do not reduce or cure the disease, but only work to make the person more comfortable. She texted a co-worker to explain her absence and then went to the hospital's emergency department. Damn. Oh, damn. It was during this this hospital stay, she was diagnosed with ovarian cysts on top of her endometriosis and told that she needed surgery. Then she got a call from her boss. He rang not to check on it, but to reveal that he wasn't comfortable with someone with her needs returning to the office. What the? He said, I understand your condition, but you need days off work and rest, or you'll often get up and walk around. I don't want that in my office, she recalled. She was fired while lying in a hospital bed in pain. Her experience isn't uncommon. 1 in 6 people will lose their employment due to managing their endometriosis. The whole experience was traumatizing, and it took her years to understand that she wasn't to blame. Moving forward, I never told anyone, and I never told another employer again. I was traumatized, she said. The 27-year-old now works part-time at a law firm and co-founded the electric water bottle company Alia. Most of the time, she's her own boss now, and therefore doesn't feel like she needs to hide anything that comes along with the pain management. I'm a little bit. This one's interesting. I mean, we're not at will, so there has to be a legitimate reason for a firing. I feel like she'd have a half decent claim here. Yes, he did fire her. So, oh, Burberry's knows about the company. There you go. Poor woman let her have her hot water bottle. I don't think it's so much about the hot water bottle. I think it was that see, as an employer and as a business operator, I understand being cautious about having employees that, because you do still have to pay them for the time off, particularly where it's sick leave and that sort of thing. So I understand it, but I still think it's reprehensible to have fired her. It's a little rechargeable hot water bottle. It's pretty neat. Really? Okay. Interesting. I'm curious as to how the photo. Oh, that's it there. That was the hot water bottle. So, interesting. I don't know. I'd be claiming unfair termination on that one. I mean, it's for a legitimate medical purpose. I don't think she'd have any possibility of. Sorry, I don't think she'd have any trouble getting a medical certificate for something like that. So, yeah, no. If they could have had her work from home, that could have helped. Look, possibly. Look, there's all sorts of. That's just it. You do have to make reasonable accommodations for individuals with medical issues here. So, yeah, I kind of feel like something could have been done rather than just randomly calling her. Whoa, she's laying in a hospital bed and saying, "Yeah, you're not coming back to the office. You're not coming back to work for us." I'm really not okay with that. So, all right. Naked man steals a vehicle and then disappears into thin air. Apparently taking the car with him. I don't know. Let's hope the guy doesn't get cancer. If he does, he's fired. A naked man stole a car, which has been found, but the man has disappeared. A Venice, California resident and her friend were surprised to find a mysterious naked man in her home. Upon discovery, the reputedly overweight and underdressed intruder took the woman's car and left. Why do they have to mention that he's overweight? Is it just to show that he's not going to have... Is it just so that there's no worries about whether or not his tallywhack is showing or what? Where are we? The resident called the Los Angeles police, who did show up shortly after that. The vehicle was found a few blocks away, but the naked man was nowhere to be seen. I'm sure they dusted it for prints. Ew. Around 4:20 p.m. on Sunday, officers responded to 1086 Marco Place after receiving a call from a woman and a friend about a break-in, according to the LAPD. When the two women returned home, they found the suspect, a nude, heavy-set man who was lying down inside the house, according to the department. To show he can't easily hide. Maybe it's to say that it's a little bit more miraculous that he disappeared into thin air. I have no idea. Suspect went to the victim's vehicle and took off in an unknown direction, according to the LAPD. It was not clear when or how the suspect took the keys from the vehicle or where he was hiding them. Was he hairy? Could have been a bear. He could have been a bare-ass bandit. Should have more trouble hiding, but apparently not. No, apparently not. Tiffany says, please find out why we don't get notifications from Rumble. Well, you should be getting notifications from Rumble, but I mean, as always, people, the easiest way you can get notifications from me is sign up for free at AussieOverlaw'd.locals.com, because I try and send out a notification and you get it by email pretty much every show. So, right. Officers arrived and began their investigation, finding the victim's vehicle abandoned near Lincoln Boulevard and another avenue. I'm surprised the LAPD allowed the story to get out. I can see this inspiring a rash of copycat crimes.
It was discovered last night Van Nuys lodged against an abutment.
Oh man, lodged where?
You're lucky she didn't get chopped, Mr.
Never mind.
Lebowski.
Oh
Must have
man.
been a joyride situation. They abandoned the vehicle once they hit the retaining wall.
Oh, my fucking briefcase, man. It's not here.
Yeah,
Shit.
I saw that on the report. Sorry. You got.
All right, moving on. Wait, what's this? 22-year-old Pentagon leaker and Marjorie Taylor Greene hero accepts a 16-year prison sentence. We can talk about that one. Maybe another day. Let's talk about the man that was arrested and accused of trying to steal a self-driving car, because we're still in LA, so why not? A man faces a charge of attempted grand theft auto after someone tried and failed to steal a self-driving taxi in downtown LA on Saturday night. LA police said in a statement on Sunday that Vincent Morris Jones, 33, got into a fully autonomous Waymo car just after it dropped off a passenger on Main Street north of 1st Street near City Hall. The thief got into the driver's seat, but the theft did not go according to plan. Jones attempted to put the vehicle in drive, but could not manipulate the controls. You dumbass. Your locals is free. Signing up to receive the notifications is free. If you want to chat, then it's the $5 a month, but you can just sign up without paying anything, and you will just get the notifications. A Waymo representative was then able to speak to Jones remotely via the car's online communication system and told him to leave the vehicle. What movie does this remind me of? Which is it? What? Is it? Hang on. Is it Horrible Bosses or something? I think it's Horrible Bosses, the one where it's at the very end. It's the guy like from OnStar or something that's recorded the entire conversation and plays it back for the police. I'm sure that's it. Total Recall. No. I know that. No, that's not the one that I'm thinking of because this was funny. Like this was a funny movie. It was either Horrible Bosses or it was there was something else. It is Horrible Bosses. Okay. He was able to use the communication system and tell him to leave the vehicle, police said. When he did not, the representative called the police. Jones did not follow the instructions, and the representative contacted police who arrived and arrested him, the statement added. Police did not say whether he'd been charged yet or was still in police custody. It was not known whether or not he has legal representation. Waymo said in a statement that an unauthorized pedestrian entered one of our vehicles on Saturday night in Los Angeles as a rider was exiting. After communicating with the individual and instructing them to exit the vehicle, our rider support team contacted police who were then able to remove and arrest them. The statement added that there were no injuries reported by the rider or damage to the vehicle. In California, attempted grand theft auto is punishable by up to 3 years in prison if it is charged as a felony and 1 year when it's charged as a misdemeanor. How would you feel getting 3 years in prison for effectively getting into a remote control car? Like, oh my God. How stupid do you have to be to try and steal a self-driving taxi? Like, did they keep him locked in the car until the cops came? They could have, yeah. It is effectively trespassing. So if he didn't steal it, then what was the crime that was committed? Attempted theft. Because the intention was there, and he clearly tried to manipulate the controls in order to steal the vehicle, so it's still attempted theft. That's a bait car. Yes. Self-driving cars are an increasingly common sight in California. The California Public Utilities Commission on Friday granted Waymo, which spun off from Google in 2016, permission to expand its fleet of self-driving taxis across greater LA after it launched in San Francisco and Phoenix. Excuse me. God, I love that mute button. About 50,000 Angelinos are already on the waiting list for a free on-tour Waymo ride. Despite self-driving cars' popularity, some policymakers and technology experts remain skeptical about them. They've been documented running red lights and blocking first responder vehicles. No, we're specifically not talking about the Thai prostitutes' great success. Apologies. Someone really got into a brawl and there was a Bangkok story. So, there it is. Look, this guy's just a moron. I mean, the way that the cars are designed is that you literally you have to get into the car as someone's exiting, because I'm pretty sure the doors automatically lock because they don't want people getting in and getting free rides or anything like that, or getting into this scenario. The fact that he actually tried to, like, if he'd just gotten in, it would have purely been trespassing. It would have been purely he had gotten into somebody else's property. They asked him to leave. He said no. So yes, he's trespassing against property. It's the fact that he tried to move the. I didn't think these things had steering wheels. Maybe they do. The fact that he tried to operate it is what's elevated this to an attempted Grand Theft Auto, which I think is both stupid and hilarious at the same time. If I'm perfectly honest, it's kind of ridiculous that he's going to face 3 years for this. I feel like this one needs to be charged as a misdemeanor just so that he can get laughed at. Like, I kind of feel like this is just some stupidity, you know? But, you know, dude thought he saw an easy way to make some cash, and he failed spectacularly. If you die in an automatic driverless car, who's at fault? Depends whether or not it's remote controlled, remote operated, or whether or not it is purely AI. Because there are two types. There's one where it's basically a drone car, where someone's sitting behind, looking at the camera and driving it, in which case, still the same sort of scenario applies. It's who hits who as to who's at fault. Generally, I mean, if you go through a red light and run it, and someone hits you, then obviously you're at fault for running the red light. I don't trust someone I can't see to drive me, so forget someone. I don't trust someone I can see to drive me, so forget someone I can't see. You for getting in it. That's a fair call, actually. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Vampire serial killer who drank blood of homeless victims for fun has been caught. Bram Stoker's Dracula, the poster boy of wandering vampires, famously fled his castle of Transylvania to terrorize the Yorkshire seaside town of Whitby. But what if one ended up in tropical Brazil? Local detectives tracking a bloodthirsty serial killer who dubbed him the Vampire of Guyana after the city where he allegedly murdered 3 people. Tragically, there was nothing fictional about the victims' gruesome deaths. They were found drained of their blood and wrapped in bedding in forested areas. The police have arrested a suspect who they claim executed the victims and then drank their blood for pleasure. Damn, I'm going to have to put a trigger warning on this episode. Between December last year and February this year. Roughly 1 a month. If the former is accurate, then it is not a driverless car, is it? No, that's what I'm saying. If you guys need a tour of Dracula's castle, let me know. Is it bad that I've heard of more than one vampire serial killer? Yes. Always. He's accused of luring the victims, who were homeless or vulnerable drug users, into secluded areas. Detectives say that he killed all 3 using the same method, but have not yet revealed what it was. A kill list of 5 people that he intended to target was allegedly also found following his arrest. Dude had a hit list. Right. A statement from the state police said a very dangerous person who took advantage of the vulnerable state of homeless victims and drug users to lure them and execute them. City Police Chief Marcos Cardosa said, "We found that he transported the victims in the recycling cart, wrapped them in a mattress or sheet, and then dumped them in forested areas." When you read it, I thought this was talking about another guy. Isn't that scary? Like, during interrogation, he confessed to one of the crimes and said that the victim he transported was in the cart. Blood was also found. On December 16, we found the first body. On December 23rd, we found the second body. And on February 11, we found the third. God damn it, dude. At least be consistent. Why do 2 in a month and 1 right before Christmas? Like, come on. At least wait until after New Year's. So at least then I don't look like a dick, okay? It averages to 1 a month, but you couldn't have just done 1 a month? Not that I'm in any way condoning violence like this. Jesus, come on. Anyway, point is, they caught him. Fingers crossed. Oh, I don't. I love that they actually they actually specify that these guys are from the homicide squad too. Like, and they have to specify between military police and civil police. It's hilarious. I thought I was at Theo Von's show last night and he had a joke you'd love. It was about how Australia is full of things that kill you. Brown snakes, redback spiders, that cop in Sydney. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. So, yeah. So, look. I don't know if he could be classed as serial killing right up until they found the body on February 11th. But clearly he was a little bit messier than he intended to be because they tracked him down fairly quickly. So one less serial killer that we've got to worry about. And then don't need to worry about sucking your blood. I have no idea. I'm just screw it. Oh, but he's not wrong. No, he's not wrong. Oh, why is Brave all of a sudden doing this thing where it unloads the pages? I have no idea why. A man drunkenly rides a horse up the 5th floor apartment to make up with his wife, which I'm sure is going to work. I'm sure that will always be. Because who doesn't like coming home and finding a horse turd on your doorstep and then the actual horse in the house? Yeah, you jerk. Don't kill during Christmas. Police in Russia's Kemerovo region are questioning a man who drunkenly rode a horse into an apartment building at 3 a.m. I don't know why my Russian's not working today. Excuse me, give me 1 second. And presented it to his wife to make amends for a fight. Footage of the bizarre scene shows both the large piles of feces the animal left in the building's entry. Holy shit, I was joking. I hadn't previously read this. That's great. Called it. The large pile of feces the animal left in the building's entranceway, which neighbors were reportedly not happy about, and the man's many failed attempts to climb onto the horse. At one point, the man apparently thought better of trying to fit the horse into the elevator to get it to the 5th floor apartment and rode it up instead. Walking up 5 flights of stairs is hard for a drunken human. Yeah. I don't know why you can lead a horse, like you can apparently you can lead cows upstairs but not down. I'm concerned that it's the same thing with the horse and they're going to have to get a crane in because there's no way they're going to get this into a... I reckon they'd struggle to get this in the elevator. Yes, there was an elevator, but I mean, look at the size of the horse. Is that really going to fit in your average elevator? Especially in Mother Russia, where elevator takes you. Local media identifies the man as a 33-year-old Sergei Atripov and reports that he took the horse from a farm where he used to work, hoping to show up as Prince Charming and make up with his wife. She subsequently recorded the confused-looking horse, which she quipped was a gift for International Women's Day on March 8th, inside their tiny apartment. Breaking news, 100-plus J6 sentences have been thrown out. New York Post for the story. No shit, thank you. I shall have a look. I should have the look. See, this is where you get it, people. Occasionally, we get interesting stuff where we get... I guess it's the thought that counts. Thank you for the member chat, by the way. Oh, hang on. There we go. You're turning into the compares the market meerkat. Sergey, get me these insurance policies. You can lead a horse to water, but you have to hold its head under to drown it. Oh, that's terrible, Tiffany. Here's a horse standing in my house, she said. Thankfully, the horse is now back on the farm where it's supposed to be. And here's the footage of him taking it up one of the flights of stairs. Tiny flight of fair. It's simples. Compare the meerkat. It's simples. Oh, dude. Can I zoom this in at all? Oh, that's funny. That's really freaking funny. No news story from New York Post. That's their prior story. Oh, okay. And they sped up the footage for how often he tries to jump on the horse. That's great. He needs a step or a fence. Yep. He walked the horse instead of riding it. Well, yeah, but he clearly tried to start riding it. That's for sure. Wait, what? OnlyFans model threatens to publish new naked pictures of Prince Harry. Woman, I will pay you not to release those. I don't want to see that. That's funny. So he definitely he managed to get the horse up there is the main thing. Like, so all right. 2 charged with stealing nearly 600 Venus flytraps in Brunswick County. Officers with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission have obtained arrest warrants for 2 people accused of stealing nearly 600 Venus flytraps from a nature conservation land in Boiling Spring Lakes. Okay. Harry was already naked on the front page of The Sun decades ago. Yeah, and I didn't want to see it then either. How would you ever think that's a good idea? The mind just boggles. I've got no idea. Don't need to see the Royal Tallyworker. Nope. See what I just sent you, Hayden? No, Stingy, I haven't had a look yet. Just let me focus, man. Let me focus. I need to focus. Venus flytraps are native to southeastern North Carolina, and stealing the plants is considered a felony. I've got no idea what accent that was. Never mind. They only grow naturally within a 100-mile radius of Wilmington, said Sergeant Matt Crisco of the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. This time of year, they start to bud flowers, and it's easier to find them in the wild. Even during the winter months as well, they're still able to find. But what? They're still able to find? You can still find them? But not as easily as during the spring. Crisco said the flowers are the target of theft because they're so rare. They're an odd plant. People like to dig them and resell them either on the black market or even locally sometimes. Officers responded to a call on February 13 about 2 people digging for fly traps in Boiling Springs Lakes. They found the suspects at a nearby gas station and searched their backpacks and harvested over 590 of the plants illegally. Oh, sorry, they harvested over 590. That's nature conservation property, which you have permission to be on the property and what? You have to have permission. I can't read this. This is too small for even me. According to North Carolina law, any person, firm, or corporation who digs up, pulls up, takes or carries away, or aids in taking or carrying away any Venus flytraps, plant or seed of any Venus flytrap plant growing on the lands of another person or from the public domain with the intent to steal the flytrap is guilty of a Class H felony. They're literally going to jail for a felony. A horrible British one. Bad as an American doing British accent. Well, I tried. We do our best, especially this time of year. Never mind. I could not care less about that. Now, hang on. I need to bring something up here because a certain somebody is pestering me. All right. I want to save that. Oh, I think I already have that. Hang on. Sorry, peeps. I know this is a little bit boring. Just give me 2 seconds. Actually, you know what? Enjoy these funny things from Twitter. Just while I do this.
1, 2, 3!
That guy's not even racist yet.
Yeah, he did. He blinked.
Okay, and we're back. Now, it's that time of day again where we go to the what I'm going to officially call the new segment. Stingy sent something. Now, apparently something's happened here. Now, I did see that there is in fact a quote on this, which may mean that this is not no longer accurate, but apparently memorandum requests the removal of all VJ Day in Times Square photographs from all Veterans Health Administration facilities to align with the Department of Veterans Affairs commitment to maintaining a safe and respectful and trauma-informed environment. This action is promoted by the recognition of the photograph, which depicts a non-consensual act, is which is inconsistent with the VA's no tolerance policy towards sexual harassment. Is this the photo of the Is this the photo of the soldier that kisses the girl? Like, is that the one? Is that what we're talking about here? The VJ Day in Times Square photograph captured by Alfred Einstadt on August 14, 1945 is an iconic image from the 20th century. Depicts a U.S. Navy sailor kissing a woman dressed in white, a dental assistant in Times Square in New York City, on the day on the day that Japan's surrender in World War II was announced, marking the war's end. This spontaneous moment was celebrated across the United States, and the photograph quickly became a symbol of victory and the joyous end to the long and devastating conflict. The placement of this photograph in Veterans Affairs facilities was initially intended to celebrate and commemorate the end of the World War II and the triumphant return of American soldiers. However, perspectives on historical events and their representations evolved. No. They're literally wanting to whitewash over history. Department of Veterans Affairs have so many other things to be focused on. This is annoying. I agree with you. Recent discussions have highlighted concerns about the non-consensual nature of the kiss, prompting debates on consent and the appropriateness of celebrating such images in today's environment, especially within institutions such as the VHA facilities, which are committed to upholding standards of creating a safe and respectful environment. The Department of Justice's current definition of SA includes any non-consensual sexual act or any act where the victim cannot consent. Definition is adhered to by the department when applying our policies and guidance by the VA's no tolerance policy towards domestic violence, sexual assault, and assault, as outlined in the VA handbook. To foster a more trauma-informed environment that promotes the psychological safety of our employees and veterans we serve, photographs depicting the VJ Day in Times Square should be removed from all VHA facilities. This action reflects our dedication to creating a respectful and safe workplace and is in keeping with our broader efforts to promote a culture of inclusivity and awareness. In celebrating the end of World War II and the valiant service of our veterans, facilities should seek alternative photographs that capture the spirit of victory and peace without compromising the VA's commitment to a safe and respectful workplace. Everything will be sanitized. Ned Flanders will be on all of our TV screens. That seems like where we're heading with this. There was worse SA in the military. Maybe charge those photos instead of charge those instead of a photo. They didn't take the whole story into account. Apparently not. But apparently, because here's the photo. Now, look, one thing that I will say is obviously I don't condone any sort of non-consensual sexual acts. I think there are certain situations where certain actions by individuals are not excusable, but understandable. Like an excited utterance, basically. Like, this dude was clearly over the moon because he no longer had to go out into the World War. In this August 14, 1945 photo, a sailor and a woman kiss in Times Square as people celebrate the end of the World War II. Photograph is the same moment that photograph Alfred Einstadt captured and the first published in Life magazine. Veterans Affairs Secretary Dennis McDonough is overruling plans to ban the famous Times Square kiss photo marking the end of World War II from all department healthcare facilities, a move criticized as political correctness run amok. This ban was announced internally at VA medical facilities late last month in a memo from Rima Ann Nelson, the Veterans Health Administration's top operations official. Employees were instructed to promptly remove any depictions of the famous photo and replace it with imagery deemed more appropriate. Like what? Photos of the POWs, photos of the war crimes that were committed, photos of... They reenacted the scene in Watchmen. The photograph, which depicts a non-consensual act, is in... Show me a wartime photo that does not include a non-consensual act. Like... Any photo of an individual aiming a weapon at someone during wartime. I'm pretty sure the person on the other end of the weapon has not consented to it being pointed at them. Well, I mean, actually, they may have if they're going into war and they're pointing it back. But don't argue with semantics with me right now, okay? Because I'm pissed. To foster a more trauma-informed environment that promotes the psychological safety of our employees and veterans we serve, photographs depicting the VJ Day in Times Square should be removed from all Veterans Health Administration facilities. You're literally removing it. She doesn't seem upset at all. No, I wouldn't have. Well, I mean, she might have been afterwards. I mean, she may have slapped him. We don't know the context. So, this is some bullshit. The memo garnered public scrutiny after it was posted online by an ex-account End Wokeness on Tuesday. On your End Wokeness. Just hours later, McDonough took to social media to reverse the memo. This image is not banned from VA facilities, and we will keep it in VA facilities, said a post from his official X account. Department officials echoed in a separate statement that the VA will not be banning this photo from VA facilities. You're literally saying you're going to ban something from the people, from being seen by the people that are the least likely to give a shit about it. That photo would be more comforting than old war photos for vets. Exactly. Officials said the memo should not have been sent out and was formally rescinded on Tuesday. They did not provide details of whether senior leaders were consulted on the matter ahead of Nelson's memo. Oh, so she just took it upon herself to say, no, this photo needs to be removed. It shows a non-consensual kiss, so we need to remove it. The photograph was taken by journalist Alfred Einstein in New York City on August 14, 1945, as Americans celebrated Japan's surrender of World War II. Other journalists, including military reporters, also captured the moment. The shot shows a US sailor grabbing and kissing a woman he did not know amid a joyous party atmosphere at Times Square. The identities of the individuals in the photo have been disputed over the years. Bet she's not getting any, probably not. If she didn't complain, then leave it alone. Well, we don't. I wouldn't really know. I mean, someone said that it was non-consensual, but I mean, it would depend on her reaction. I mean, look, my wife comes home from a long, hard day of work, whatever. If I randomly grab her, spin her around, and give her a kiss, she's not expecting it. And technically, it's non-consensual. I think context matters. So, sorry, this makes me mad because I've been dealing with the DVA for my mum's medical yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Right. In a memo, Nelson noted that the use of the photo in VA facilities was initially intended to celebrate and commemorate the end of World War II and the triumphant return of American soldiers. However, perspectives on historical events and their representations evolve. No. Hard times create strong people. Soft times create soft people. And that's exactly what this is. This is someone bitching and moaning about something that was probably considered acceptable in a very different time. You cannot apply modern day standards to something that's gone in the past. That's why it gives me such a headache and why it drives me up the freaking wall when I see these trigger warnings at the start of Disney movies, at the start of like historical documentaries, all this sort of stuff. Is there anything people aren't offended by? No, because I swear to you, people will find something to be offended about. Oh, let me duck onto Twitter and the news and like whatever else to see what I can be offended about today. Have a cup of concrete and harden the up. It's not just simply about excited utterances. They would make any misjudged romantic interaction a crime. That creates a barrier for dating. Well, you're not wrong there. So, where are we? Nelson wrote that the non-consensual nature of the kiss and the debates on consent and appropriateness of celebrating such images led to the decision. Senior leaders did not provide an explanation for the reversal. VA officials could not provide details on how many facilities are currently displaying the photo and whether veterans have complained about the use of the image. McDonough has made veterans outreach and inclusion key priorities for the department over the last 3 years, including rewriting the VA motto with gender-neutral language. The fact that they can't identify the couple proves that they have no facts, or if it was consensual, leave it be, as many have said before me. Yeah. So there you go. That was today's Stingy Sent Something. I'm legit going to turn that into a stinger, and that's going to be a thing, Stingy. All right. Anyway. Taylor Swift post has been blamed for Instagram and Facebook going down in election interference. Conspiracy theorists are trying to establish why Facebook and Instagram have gone down, and Taylor Swift urging voters to the polls is being blamed. Facebook and Instagram have both gone down, and some conspiracy theorists are blaming Taylor Swift. Hundreds of thousands of users have reported issues on the meta sites, including Facebook Messenger and Threads. Since around 10 a.m. Eastern, those hoping to post photos or check out some videos have been greeted with a session expired or unexpected error message. Many people flocked to the rival site X, formerly known as Twitter, to question the cause of the problem. Is it weird that I've never listened to an entire Taylor Swift song? No. I'm actually not sure if I've listened to an entire one. Oh, actually, that might not be true, because I think she one of her songs was in Sing, wasn't it? One outlandish theory is emerging that the Cruel Summer singer was behind the issue, and it's all down to what she posted on Instagram just moments before. Taylor Swift reminds her fans to go vote on Super Tuesday. Wanted to remind you guys to vote the people who most represent you into power. If you haven't already, make a plan to vote today. Yeah, exactly. How do I say this without getting yeeted off YouTube? Make your vote count, people. Because as bad as it sounds, the rest of the world is looking to America at the moment. And when you've got Italy making fun of your leader, and you've got things like BRICS coming out of the woodworks, and you've got things about the US dollar and all that sort of stuff, please return to being the superpower that you once were. That was not, that, you know, like, you were mocked, but in a fun, jovial, ribbing kind of way. Not in a, we're watching the downfall of an empire sort of way, you know? Swift called on her 282 million followers to make a plan to vote on Super Tuesday. 15 states will cast their ballots to pick the Republican and Democratic nominees for president on a huge day in the election race. But she maintained her silence on who she thinks her fans should vote for, having previously backed President Joe Biden in 2020. You have 1987 on from Taylor Swift on repeat, you liar. Which one's that? But she maintained, I want to remind you guys to vote for the people who most represent you in power. If you haven't already, make a plan to vote. Whether you're in Tennessee or somewhere else in the US, check your polling places and times at vote.org. Exactly, Linda, exactly. Make your vote count, because the people that look up to Taylor Swift vote too. More to the point, the people that still watch Rachel Maddow vote too. And I can't, you know, I was in two minds about whether or not to show that video. She sort of went a little bit unhinged, and I can't wrap my head around it. To be fair, nothing wrong with her statement. Nothing there in her statement is telling who to vote for. Exactly. Where are we? No, I don't care about that one. A California man is the first in the US to be charged with smuggling greenhouse gases, according to prosecutors. A Southern California man was arrested on Monday on suspicion of smuggling refrigerants into the US from Mexico, and federal prosecutors say he's the first person to be charged with violating regulations intended to curb the use of greenhouse gases that contribute to climate change. The indictment alleges that Michael Hart of San Diego smuggled the ozone-depleting chemicals across the border, concealed under a tarp and tools in his vehicle. He posted them for sale on the internet, according to a statement from the US Attorney's Office. Apparently, Stingy just sent something else. Maybe don't vote for the guy who can't sum up America in one word. Where are we? He was arraigned on Monday afternoon and pled not guilty to 13 charges, including conspiracy, sale of prohibited materials, and illegal importation, according to the statement. It's the first prosecution in the US to include charges related to the 2020 law that prohibits the importation of hydrofluorocarbons, commonly used as refrigerants, without permission from the EPA, according to prosecutors. Imagine being arrested for that. It's the first time the Department of Justice is prosecuting for someone for illegally importing greenhouse gases, and it will not be the last, said U.S. Attorney Tara McGrath in a statement. We're using every means possible to protect our planet from the harm caused by toxic pollutants, including bringing criminal charges. Hydrofluorocarbons are regulated under the Clean Air Act, and they are used in applications such as refrigeration, air conditioning, building insulation, fire extinguishing systems, and aerosols. He's been ordered to return to court on March 25. It was so much funnier listening to the thing about how he was smuggling things in his ass. So, all right, where's the Nintendo lawsuit? All right. The Nintendo Switch emulator Yuzu will utterly fold and pay $2.4 million to settle its lawsuit. The emulator was sued for facilitating piracy at a colossal scale. I'm a little bit disappointed by this only because Nintendo seems to be hell-bent on not actually properly fulfilling emulation on the Switch. And now that the Switch 2 is coming out soon, I can't see them moving forward with a half-decent Switch emulator anytime soon now either. Like, I've never understood why after the profit potential of a particular game is gone. So say it's a random game on the Game Boy Color that no one is ever going to be able to buy or play or anything like that ever again. Aside from them trying to make collector's items out of the cartridges, I don't see any reason as to why they shouldn't be providing copies of this. Like, I don't understand why they should be cracking the shits about emulation like this. Just over a week ago, Nintendo sued the developers of the leading Nintendo Switch emulator Yuzu for facilitating piracy on a colossal scale. Now it appears that they will give up without a fight and give Nintendo everything that they wanted. And it affects the Nintendo 3DS emulator Searcher 2. According to the joint filing, Tropic Haze has not only agreed to pay $2.4 million to Nintendo, but also says that Yuzu is primarily designed to circumvent and play Nintendo Switch games. The company agrees to be permanently enjoined from working on Yuzu, hosting Yuzu, distributing Yuzu's code or features, hosting websites and social media to promote Yuzu, or doing anything else to circumvent Nintendo's copyright protection. Still want a mini N64 like they did for the Nintendo and Super Nintendo. I agree. They should bring back new and old content rather than milk the cow for 40-year-old games. Oh, and it will surrender the yuzuemu.org domain name to Nintendo. Agree to delete not only its copy of Yuzu, but also all circumvention tools used for the development or using Yuzu, such as Tegra RCM GUI, Hecate, Atmosphere Lockpick RCM, ND Dump Tool, NX Dump Fuse, and Tegra Explorer, and hand over any physical circumvention devices and modified Nintendo hardware to Nintendo. It also agrees not to delete any other evidence that infringes on Nintendo's IP rights. Yuzu and Citra developer Bunai, confirmed in the Yuzu Discord that both the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo 3DS emulators are affected. We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu support of Citra are being discontinued effective immediately. Yuzu and its teams have always been against piracy. We started the projects in good faith out of passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games, and we're not intending to cause harm. But we see now that because our projects can circumvent Nintendo's technology protection measures and allow users to play games outside of authorized hardware, they have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we've been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. We have come to the decision that we cannot continue to allow this to occur. Piracy was never our intention, and we believe that piracy of video games and on video game consoles should end. Effective today, we're pulling our code repositories offline, discontinuing our Patreon accounts and Discord servers, and soon shutting down our websites. We hope our actions will be a small step towards ending piracy of all creator works. Good luck with that in territories where piracy is the primary means of acquiring these games. Don't believe I have Discord open. My sincere apologies. Also, I had a bit of an idea. For those of you that watched the Fortnite tournament the other day, I'm thinking and toying with the idea that now that I know that I can route my Discord audio through a separate channel so that it doesn't come through on StreamYard, that maybe one of the member perks is that for a couple of streams a month, I'll invite people from chat into this Discord server, and they can just give me shit in my ear for 2 or 3 sessions, just two or three streams, just so they can comment in real time and no one will hear them. But I try and keep a straight face. I'm just thinking, what would you guys feel about that? So, statement was obviously written by Nintendo. Yeah. You can't pirate what doesn't what does not exist. They better come up with new content. Yep. Thank you for your years of support and understanding of our decision. You can read through the entirety of the proposed final judgment and permanent injunction at the bottom of the story. They have not yet been approved by a judge, but the source code for User and Citra have already been pulled down from GitHub. It is not yet clear if this is the literal end of User or Citra, since copies of both emulators and their source code are in the wild. Some online supporters specifically mentioned backing up the user code before Nintendo sued 2 weeks ago. Could give it a trial run. Yeah, I think it's not a bad idea, you know? I'm also not clear on whether this result would impact other emulators beyond Yuzu and Citra. If Yuzu had fought this lawsuit in court, one of the biggest questions would have been whether Yuzu was actually circumventing Nintendo's protection, since the emulator itself does not contain Nintendo's keys. User is a bring your own BIOS emulator, but now Nintendo and Tropic Haze are asking the judge to specifically find that User can circumvent copyright protections by using those keys, even if it doesn't come with them. That is a legal technicality that I think is complete and utter BS. It was literally the case of the emulator. There's certain other emulators for the PlayStation and that sort of thing as well, where you would have to rip it directly off of the console. So, for example, I think there was one from... God, I'm trying to remember back in the days when I used to read about it. PSXE or whatever it is. And you used to have to either download a copy of the BIOS off of the internet, or you had to rip it directly off of your PlayStation, and you had to know how to do that in order to play the games. And I think that may be how they got around it. Surprised you didn't break me the other day. Well, you came close. And that's sort of why I'm thinking it might be a little bit of fun, just for the extra members perks, you know? If Nintendo doesn't want me to emulate games, they need to re-release Pokemon, Gale of Darkness, and Colosseum. Yes! Yes! And that's the main reason why I'm looking into purchasing the hardware for the GameCube, because I want to replay Pokemon Colosseum. And I might as well stream that and have some fun with it. Where are we? See, because I disagree that it circumvents the copyright protections, because they're not actually utilizing anything. There were certain things that were reverse engineered, and they created their own tools from scratch. The bits and pieces that they cannot actually copy, they're not doing. They haven't provided anything for it. So I disagree that they should be saying this. Me and Marty can tell you do the bit, Hayden, in his ear the entire stream. Great. From what I understand, Yuzo and Citra would unencrypt the keys themselves, and that's why they got sued. Road Jinx requires you to get the keys yourself. See, I'm not sure, because I thought that I mean, yeah, I don't know. My understanding was that the BIOS you had to bring yourself. So it literally says bring your own BIOS. I don't know. Developing and distributing software, including Yuzo, that is in its ordinary course functions only when a cryptographic key is integrated without authorization, violates the Digital Millennium Copyright Act's prohibition on trafficking in devices that circumvent effective technology measures. So arguably, if Yuzu could be used to play other open source games, then it wouldn't have had this issue. BIOS is different to the keys. Yeah, but my understanding was you had to bring the keys as well. Like, they didn't provide them, but I don't know. Clearly we've heard different things. So, they're saying that it was a decoding Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, I did hear that, actually. Where are I? Because the software is primarily designed for the purpose of circumventing technological measures. Yeah, so basically, if the emulator had been able to run open source and other software, and the primary purpose of it was to play said games, but you could use it to emulate Switch games, then I can see a way around that. So maybe, just maybe, not that I'm in any way promoting any sort of illegal activity here, if the source code is still out in the wild, that may be a way around it in the future. To those of you that have the code, maybe rejig it so that it uses other things and plays other games that are not Nintendo related, and make it so that the primary purpose of it is to play those games. Buddy just modded a GameCube, SD boot, and all the best games on board. Damn it! No hackers crack the mini systems pretty easily. I wouldn't know anything about that. Not a damn thing would I know about the minis getting hacked. Not a damn thing. Although Nintendo is making an example out of Yuzu, one that might create a chilling effect, it shouldn't create a legal precedent. Good news is that settlements are not legal determinations, even with the court sign-off, so they're not legally precedential, said Richard Hogue. The Verge quoted... Ow, my earphone! For anyone that doesn't know, Rick's another law tuber. He does virtual legality. It's a stream about like gaming and that sort of thing. He probably covered this himself. That's funny. Hogue suspects that users settled because Nintendo at least gave them a cap on their liability. It's a lot of money, but it's a known amount, and I suspect that the advice they were getting was from their exposure, that their exposure was high and they had a good chance to lose after paying lawyers for a long time. All right, so here's the judgment. Joint judgment. Defendant acknowledges they've been properly and validly served with summons. Don't care about any of that. Okay. Proposed final judgment. Nintendo of America marks distributes electronic video game consoles and games, accessories developed by Nintendo Co. Limited, together Nintendo, including the Nintendo Switch. It is herefore ordered that the plaintiff is awarded judgment against the defendant in the amount of $2.4 million. Each party shall bear its own costs. That's kind of them. Mr. Sujano, a YouTuber who does videos on emulation news, talked about the reasons that user and Citra will likely sued for. Okay. Permanent injunction from offering to the public, providing, marketing, advertising, promoting, selling, testing, hosting, cloning, distributing, and otherwise trafficking in Yuzu or any of the source code or features of Yuzu. Offering to the public, providing, anything, including without limitation, unauthorized copies of Nintendo's proprietary cryptographic keys to decrypt Nintendo's video games or component files. So basically what it boils down to is they've agreed that in exchange for $2.4 million, we'll hand over every bit of code that we have. We'll destroy what we otherwise have. We will not destroy any evidence. Is there a release of liability from anything further, though? Because if they dig up something else, though, I'd be a little bit concerned. Permanent injunction binding the defendants and members worldwide, regardless, without regard to the territorial scope of the specific intellectual property rights asserted in the complaint. That's interesting. They've tried to reach into other countries' jurisdictions there. Pretty sure China would not give a shit about this, but anyway. The court shall maintain continuing jurisdiction over this action for the purpose of enforcing the final judgment and permanent injunction. Plaintiff is not required to post any bond or security in connection. So there you go. That one's pretty interesting. Look, this one was interesting purely from a gaming perspective because, like I said, the code was already disseminated, so destroying the original is pointless. Yes, I agree. And I would hope that in no way, shape, or form would my show in any way make it into the hands of anyone that is either at Nintendo or has the source code. I think it was the V1 Game Boy DS, mainly Japan release. You could almost literally copy and paste games and ROMs from a cart to the PC. Interesting. I have no idea about that. I would have no knowledge of using ROM carts whatsoever. I wouldn't do that. I in no way would ever admit to anything on the internet like that. I mean, look, settling it for what it is, yeah, I can see that they were going to get in trouble because Nintendo's like a dog with a bone, and I can understand why. But at the same time, like I said when we started talking about this one, Nintendo has no goodwill in terms of game preservation. It's the same. We've got the same issue with the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360, and I think the PS3 store is going down at some point in the not too distant future as well. There are hundreds of titles that are going to disappear, likely forever. The value of the source code just skyrocketed. Auction begins in 15 minutes. Share? No, don't. That's my biggest problem with Nintendo, is they let things stagnate. They let things just disappear. Does the Xbox 360 still exist? Yes, and I have a working console right next to me. I occasionally fire it up just so that I can play the original versions of certain games. I I am terrified of the day when I get the red ring of death because no one's going to be able to fix it for me. But like I said, just because the commercial viability of something, like if a game's value only becomes a couple of dollars, why would you not just, if you choose not to continue selling a game, you should not be able to sue? I kind of feel like it's if you're not going to benefit from it commercially, and you make the active decision not to benefit from something commercially, I kind of feel like the copyright license should be released. Now, that's a bold statement. That's a bold claim, and it could be dangerous in a number of situations. I'm limiting this purely to things like gaming and to, well, not so much books, but yeah, gaming, basically. Because it is such a fleeting thing. Like, it is a completely digital asset. It's an intangible intellectual property. And it's like the patent to a generic drug, shall we say. If all of a sudden a drug company decides to cease production of a specific brand of drug, and they've had the patent and the license on it so no one can create generics on it, if people are still using that drug and still need to use that drug, I genuinely believe that the patent should be released. And I just think that it should be forcefully released if they're going to decide not to do it. If they're going to decide not to utilize it now or in the future, I should say, if they're never going to produce it ever again, then I genuinely believe that it should be, yeah. Or you can sell it off. That works too. Just sell it off. I mean, there are people that did remakes of certain games that did a far better job than the major companies. So, bring back the Commodore 64 and let's play Battleships again. That works. If you get a red ring, it's usually the solder gone brittle. Sometimes you can use a heat gun on the board to get it working again. Yeah. I believe the Yuzu devs were giving out guides to installing Zelda or the actual files, not sure. Before it came out behind their patent paywall. That might get them in trouble, yeah. That would make more sense. But, I mean, like... Okay. We're going to be a little bit nerdy here just for a second. Do you know how difficult it is to find a European or Australian edition of any of the Digimon games? The ones that were on Nintendo? Like, trying to find the hard copies in store or in... Because I know I can go to eBay. I know I can go to Amazon and I can just purchase it. I know that. I'm more about finding the golden nuggets when you go digging through the bargain bins at the game stores. And... Whoa, hang on. Son just found PS4 Godzilla game he bought for $4 is worth $200. He's really cleaning his room now. If a software gets outmodded, it should become public domain. For example, Windows XP is no longer sold by Microsoft. It should become public domain. Could you imagine how much fun people would have screwing around with the source code on Windows XP? Like, don't get me wrong. Vista can die a slow and painful death. But I would happily install a copy of XP just to screw around in, to play some old games, to play around with some of the old features. Like, sell off a license. Huh, look at the Fantastic Four. They make them every 10 years just to renew the license. Just realized I was 10 minutes behind. All good. Gaming industry's been destroyed by corporates. They don't want you wasting time on older titles and not their new ones. Yeah, my copy of Pokemon Gale of Darkness is worth $287 now. Yeah, that's because Gale of Darkness was released in lower quantities than, hang on. Damn, depending on the quality of the copy, you can sell it for $200 to $800. Wow. XP was the best of Windows? Yes, it really was. So, all right. Crap, what else was I going to talk about? I think I covered everything that I listed in the thing. I think this is pretty cool, though. Apparently, one of the composers for Destiny and Halo is running for US Congress. Video games and Washington politics are converging in a way you never thought you would have had on your bingo card. Marty O'Donnell, the composer behind Bungie's Destiny and Halo games, has announced his campaign to run for the U.S. House of Representatives in Nevada's 3rd Congressional District on March 3 as a Republican, challenging the current Democratic incumbent, Susie Lee. Best of luck with that. Never even heard of Gale of Darkness. it was kind of it was kind of a follow-up to Colosseum, but it was still its own independent game. I never actually got to finish it, which was annoying. So, where are we? O'Donnell declared his bid for the congressional seat on Twitter in a post championing the traditional family and securing American borders from the millions of people coming in. In a March 3 YouTube video, the world's simplest iMovie present. What? O'Donnell said it needs to be less lawyers and more composers in politics, a position I've literally never heard of before. Okay. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey has been arrested on 2 counts of child trafficking. Huh. That's terrifying. Oh, hang on. There was the J6 thing. What can I look at? Thrown out. Yeah, has anyone got a link? Because I cannot find anything that's recent. And that might just be because I suck at Googling right now. Man is suing a luxury hotel resort after he was stung by a scorpion. No, I specifically said I was not covering that one today. Where are we? All right, that's the Musk lawsuit, which I don't really care much about. No, that's fine. Okay. Harry, 6 sentences. Okay, that was from 4 days ago. Appeals court tosses January 6 sentencing ruling that could affect more than 100 cases. Federal appeals court on Friday tossed out a portion of J6 defendant sentences that could affect more than 100 cases related to the 2021 incident at the Capitol. The ruling by a 3-judge panel in Washington, D.C. looked at the lower court's enhanced sentencing of a defendant over his substantial interference with the administration of justice on the day Congress was certifying Joe Biden's victory over Donald Trump. The appeals court ruled that the administration of justice does not encompass Congress's role in the electoral certification process. The ruling potentially opens the door to the resentencing of J6 defendants who were hit with similar sentences to that of Larry Brock, who appealed his case to the Washington court. The panel upheld his overall conviction. We must apply the guideline as written, and Brock's interference with one stage of the Electoral College vote counting process, while no doubt endangering our democratic processes and temporarily derailing Congress's constitutional work. I didn't think any of that was... I don't know. I got to be careful here because I don't want to get yeeted. Reminder, daylight savings time in the US this Sunday ahead 1 hour. Oh, man, you mean I've got to change the time on my show again? Oy vey. That's fine, because I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to have to go back to streaming at night anyway, because it's becoming a little bit more difficult to run a law firm and look after Scarlett and be a stay-at-home dad and a whole bunch of other stuff while streaming in the middle of the day. So we'll see what happens. My son has 2 copies of the PlayStation Godzilla game. It's his favorite game. People at trade day swaps would look for stuff for him. That's awesome. All right. Brock had been convicted on 6 charges, including corruptly obstructing Congress's certification of the electoral count. Former President Donald Trump also faces a charge alleging blah, blah, blah. More than 100 defendants in the January 6 cases have had an enhancement applied to their cases, said Patricia Hartman. More than 1,300 defendants have been charged in connection with the riot. Around 750 pled guilty to federal charges, and 785 have been sentenced. Excuse me. Because then it'd be at 7, which is perfect for me. Doritos also already fired their new trans marketing person. Apparently. Huh. Supreme Court is set to decide a separate January 6 defendant appeal related to obstruction charges. The High Court's ruling will impact other defendants accused of similar charges as well. Okay, that was the most recent thing that I could find. Was that what was that what we were talking about? Wait, what? 23-year-old sentenced to more than 2 years in prison over it. Good God. But anyway. Oh, all right, guys. We're at the hour. We're at an hour 25. I got stuff that I got to do anyway, so I'm going to get out of here. Anyway. Thank you to everybody that sent through their membership chats. Thank you for memberships and all that sort of stuff. An explosion just happened in Detroit as well. Damn. Okay, anyway. As always, people, remember, you watching, you are not a piece of shit, and thank you for being you. You do make you do make a difference to society, and you are appreciated. I really screwed that up. Hang on. You're not a piece of shit. You do have value. You do contribute to society, especially if you hit that like button. Because that is where I'm at with things, because I'm just... This is what happens when I try and add things to it, you know? But, as always, people, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise. And I will catch you on the flip side. Because fuck this shit, I'm out. Cheers, peeps.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just...
Was there audio to that? I feel like there wasn't audio to that. There was audio? So it was just that I couldn't hear it. Okay, anyway. Anyway, guys, we got some... It's because I tore my headphone out. That explains that. Now I have audio. Okay. Yeah, same time tomorrow. Oh, no, sorry. No show tomorrow. I've got to go bush. Day after, we will look at doing some different things. But, yeah, anyway. I'll catch you all later. Cheers, peeps.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.